Welcome everybody. I hope everybody's getting a chance to grab lunch. Thank you so much for spending some time with us on this Friday and joining the call. The purpose today is really just for me to say hello and you all to meet me. A lot of familiar faces on today. There are also several people that I haven't met yet, so looking forward to hearing from you all. Um, we'll start by just giving an introduction of who I am and my background, and then give a brief update of where we are as an association, and kind of just highlight some of the high points of what we're doing. And then really after that, I hope that we can open it up and create some conversation among our membership. And we're looking for feedback and really as members or stakeholders of our association, what do you think is important moving forward? And then we'll take from that and do our best to continue to make this a great association. So with that, I'll start in with just a little bit about myself. So I am Ben Mudd, and I am originally from Lebanon, Kentucky, and letting some people in here. And grew up there my whole life, and my wife and I have moved back there since, and we have two daughters that are Emery and Aspen. They're 2 and 5, and then in my background in pharmacy, I went to Western Kentucky University for 2 years for undergrad, and then I went to University of Kentucky and graduated there in 2012. After that, I went and I had been working for Walgreens at the time, and as an intern, I went back to Lebanon to practice there. Spent 4 or 5 years there, and then made the jump over to Medica Pharmacy in Bardstown, Springfield, and Bloomfield. It's an independent community pharmacy. They have 3 pharmacies within the family. Kind of rotated among the 3 of those for a couple of years, and then I spent most of my days in Springfield for the past couple of years working as independent or community pharmacist there. In that span, several of y'all probably know the Claywells and Robies. They were very supportive and encouraged me to get involved with KPHA. It's something that I had always wanted to do, and they allowed me to do such. Served as the vice speaker and speaker of our House of Delegates for a couple of years, and then so when this position came available, I inquired and was lucky enough that the board took a chance on me and offered me the opportunity to lead our association. So that's kind of what led me here today. I've always seen value in KPHA, and they had a big influence on me as a pharmacy student, and through the years I've seen what we can do. So that's that's me professionally. I started a CBD business a couple of years ago with a partner that's still out there floating around. Not really involved much in that anymore, but that was a fun adventure just to kind of learn. That was on the business side. I learned a lot from that. So, Sarah, if you want to go to the next slide. So, for folks that aren't really familiar with the ins and outs of KPHA, maybe you're just jumping on this call to get more involved. I hope that's the case. We've listed our board directors here, and we have a great group. I can't thank our leadership enough. Joel and Kathy and Don have been really helpful. As you know, in my background, I didn't have a lot of association management, or really zero. So over the past couple of weeks, those folks, in addition to Mr. Sam Willett, who's on the call, have really made the transition as smooth as possible. So I think all things considered, we've had a good transition. I think that the association is in a great place, but reach out to these folks if they see any familiar names on there, and definitely thank them. Being on the board is it does take a lot of your time, and these folks are volunteers. So we appreciate that, or I know I do. And I think that our membership would as well. And we'll talk later about, the opportunities of what members can do and what our needs are and how you can get more involved. And one of those options is to serve some time on our board. So just to kind of give a highlight of our membership, as of this morning, we have 782 pharmacist members. And that's a great number. I think we have so much room to grow. I don't know the exact number of pharmacists in the state, but we are nowhere reaching our full potential. And that's something that we're working on as a staff and as an association. We have to find ways that we can communicate with all different pharmacists in practice settings. And I got a message from a classmate of mine at UK, and it was very disheartening that she thought that we were the Independent Pharmacists Association. There isn't such a thing, and they're a great group, but we have to really branch out and find different ways to serve all the pharmacists in the state. So I think that's something we're gonna put a lot of focus in over the next year to try to increase those numbers. The sad number that I present today is that over the last 12 months, we've had 191 pharmacists that have chosen to not renew their membership to KPHA. That's the bad of the day, and I hope that you guys can work with us and encourage pharmacists to do that. If I get one ask for the day, it was, if we have 50 people, how many calls we got? We got 21 people on this call. So, see if you can't find somebody that didn't renew, or ask them to consider joining KPHA. And over the next year or so, I think that we can get those folks back. We just have to put a lot of focus on it. We have 46 active technician members and 407 student pharmacist members that are active members. So probably, preaching to the choir here, but if you want to get more involved with our association, we have a whole list of committees that are always needing volunteers. So, that's probably the best way to get started. And if there's people that haven't been active members, they're every year, whenever you renew, you can log on to your account right now and put your interest in there. And then we once a year go through those, and as the president of the organization decides where to place people, that's where they would do that. So please log on to your portal and update that, keep it up to date. We're really doing a better job of trying to look through all of that data and use it to our advantage. So like Ralph had mentioned there, or many of you all know, we are in the thick of legislative session. So it's been a fun time coming on board right in the middle of that, and trying to learn, go through the onboarding process of becoming a new employee anywhere is tough for anybody. And this is by far our busiest time. So we're trying to navigate legislative session and what we're going to do with our annual meeting. And it's been a challenge, but the staff have done an absolutely phenomenal job assisting in that process and keeping everything up to date. So just a quick update, this is not a legislative meeting, but things that we're working on. Our top priority for the year, which we set last year, was to focus on getting compensation for pharmacy-based services. That's what House Bill 48 does. Basically, it requires insurance companies to pay pharmacists for any service that they would have to pay another healthcare provider. So that we look at what we have done in the past through board approved protocols. most of those things would become reimbursable, and that would require and set up the foundation for which a pharmacist could bill those services. We are very hopeful, and we feel very confident about where we are with this bill. It's got a lot of support. We had 49 co-sponsors, I believe, on this bill out of a possible 100. So that's really good, and that shows me that there's a lot of support. So when we, if there's questions on that from members, we'll have plenty of time to talk here in a little bit and go back and forth. If you guys want to chat about that, we'll be glad to answer any questions. The next bill that has kind of had a lot of attention is House Bill 219, and that really, it changes how the initial bill was regarding syringes and how we handle those. It would essentially get rid of the logbook that you're all familiar with, and it does require some education regarding safe disposal of syringes and offering naloxone in certain situations. But onto that bill, they kind of added some language about remote data processing and remote verification. And I do want to take a moment on this because I've gotten a lot of feedback on this, on what KPHA's stance is. And basically the people that were behind the bill, they wanted to open this up where anybody essentially in the US could input a prescription remotely and verify it. KPHA stepped up and said, wait a minute, this is definitely not good for Kentucky pharmacists. And so we were able to submit some changes that we think are beneficial to our members. So, I think it protects a lot of people that work for some larger companies that would benefit from this. It's only for closed door pharmacies as it's written now. And it really could potentially be we could have saved a lot of pharmacists' jobs by being involved here. So we've limited it to only Kentucky pharmacists. We've said that, everybody in the process has to be registered with our Board of Pharmacy. And they can also be within 100 miles of that pharmacy. But we've really narrowed it down to try to protect pharmacists and our patients. The last one that we'll talk about, there's several others, but again, this is not a legislative update, is House Bill 532, which is would be a huge win for pharmacy. It was just introduced Tuesday, I believe, by Representative Sheldon, and it was heard yesterday in committee and passed out of committee unanimously. So we're cautiously hopeful because this is a big lift with just several days left in the session. But this would, people that follow PBM reform, this does everything we want. I mean, it really does change the game. So we're definitely watching that and very supportive of Representative Sheldon and be on the lookout for help, for advocacy alerts. And that's something that we'll just talk about. A huge part of being a member is, we have strength in numbers. So, if you get those advocacy alerts, please, contact your legislator. And I've helped several people over the past couple of weeks through that process of getting to know their legislator. I think I had a phone call with Larry Hadley, and he's like, Ben, you got to remember, they put their pants on every morning just like you do. Don't be scared of them. And that was so, to me, it just, it makes me feel more comfortable, when I'm over there and I'm the new guy and I don't know anybody. They're all nice people, and for the most part, and their legislators are there to serve their constituents for the most part. So, we are here to help for that. If there's, if you're uncomfortable with that or would like us to set up a meeting, we'll be glad to do that. You can go ahead, Sarah. And then the next update is just, we want to talk about where we are with some important dates. So we have We are currently taking nominations for our board of director positions. We have a president-elect position that's open, as well as treasurer. And then we'll have 3 positions for a board. So we're really looking to try to diversify our board. So, we will consider any and all nominations. And we've been lucky recently that KPHA has had a number of nominations every year. And we've had to be in a position to where we get to sit down and really look through those folks and try to find the best candidate to put on the ballot, which is an awesome, anybody that's applied, thank you, or been nominated. That's a great problem to have. The same for our award nominations. Yeah, there's so many great pharmacists that we have that are members, and take your time to go onto our website to nominate people for the awards. It's usually, if you go to kphanet.org, it's right there at the top. And consider your colleagues and peers and submit nominations. Again, I feel like that is, an award from KPHA is very prestigious, and yes, it takes a little bit of time to nominate somebody, but there's so many people out there that are deserving of those. And then lastly, we will officially announce that we are going to host the KPHA meeting in downtown Louisville at the Marriott. And we're going to do a hybrid model. So unless things get really, really worse, we do intend to have a hybrid meeting, meaning that we will have some in-person activities, as well as stream our educational components and have some networking components online. We're still in the planning phases of that, but we've tossed around the idea of having some breakout rooms for different areas of the profession. So still having definitely focus on CE, but making this more interactive from a networking standpoint to allow community pharmacists that maybe work in different settings, chains and independents, to be able to come together in a room or virtual room and talk about issues that they're having, both successes and problems. Same thing for, maybe some institutional pharmacists or hospital pharmacists to do the same, and doing the same for students. So, Dr. Martin, I see you on here. I hope that UK will encourage students to participate either in person or virtually. And we're really excited to be able to have people back together. It may be, I think there could be one of the first events where people are able to get back together in some sort. So we're excited about that. And, again, if you have ideas for how we can make that better, please share them with us.
Ben, we will certainly encourage our students to come, but only if you stop calling me Dr. Martin.
Yes, sir. Craig. How about Dr. Craig?
That's fine.
All right. Listen to your podcast on the way in this morning. Great job, by the way. Yeah. So on the awards, both award nominations and board of directors are available on the website. So we have several, but we want more. Sarah, did I miss anything? You're the annual meeting expert. She's muted. So that is all I have today. I mean, I would love to be able to interact with people and people ask questions or talk, tell us who you are, where you're from, if I haven't met you. Anybody have any questions?
Can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna say for the hybrid model, if you guys can give us, even if you want to chat offline about expectations with, being in person versus online. If you plan to come in person, we'd love to hear that. That would be the only thing.
I wonder how are we doing this would be fun. So if you're on where you could where you have the ability to give the thumbs up, if we can get a thumbs up for everybody that might be interested in doing an in-person meeting. Anybody gonna come? I'll give you a thumbs up. All right. Sounds like we have enough that we can continue, Sarah. All right. Hey. Are there anybody? Let's see. Okay, no. Steve, I see you're on. Steve Furman. Tell me where do you join us from, Steve? Lance, how are you today? Lance isn't paying. Nobody's paying attention.
You can *6 to unmute.
Is there anything that any updates from you guys or any questions that we can answer? Any feedback that you've seen recently that that you've liked, or anything you'd like to see from the association? More of, less of? Communication's okay?
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't know if it helped, but I just think, somehow getting back with some of the locals. I mean, I know I think there have been about 4 active, but I know that not all of us that are involved in locals are members of KPHA, but still, I know District 4, Jefferson or JCAP, Northern Kentucky, here in Bluegrass. I mean, it'd be nice if we could get somehow, I'm from Henderson and we used to have Tri-County. I just don't know how to get them started. I know they may have done some of this in the past. I'm just not sure. You got to find individuals who are going to get it started to try and do things. I know it's a tough, but I still think that's somehow my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was. I think all membership organizations are having a hard time. So, we've put together a plan on how to, to target new members, and it's just not like it used to be, for sure. I mean, now we look at things instead of doing in-person networking, you're looking at really looking at social media platforms, trying to target certain groups of people where you can best put your information out there. It's different. It's tough. I would like to think that things like Zoom make it easier. I mean, I think we've seen more participation on our committee meetings because of that. It's easier to jump on a Zoom call and be more efficient with your time. So hopefully that leads to getting those smaller organizations, the local organizations, back up and going.
Ben, is there
Sessions that folks would like to see at our annual meeting?
Did everybody hear that? Is there any recommendations on education or CE items for the annual meeting?
Well, hopefully, if pharmacist compensation passes, there'll be a lot of need for folks to figure out how to get paid for some of the things that they're doing. I don't know if the timeline fits really or not as far as when materials will be developed, but I'm certain that there's going to be a lot of attention around that if that happens to pass the Senate and get signed by the governor.
I think that's a great point. We talked some about that, and it comes down to, do we want to set aside some time at the annual meeting do we want to focus more on the compensation side of it, on how to get the billing, and then let individuals get the training that would be needed for those elsewhere? I think that's probably because you can kind of divide that up in time, but some of those, to get the training to do flu and strep testing, I mean, that's a whole day thing, that would be like the entire day. So, but yeah, I think thank you for that feedback. And if others feel the same, let us know.
Ben, I'll throw one other idea at you. By that time, we'll probably have a couple more vaccines for COVID-19 approved and available. And I think you're going to have people coming in and asking their pharmacists the difference and why why they're supplied with one and not the other. And J&J's got a single dose vaccine that'll be approved probably today, or at least authorized today, but its efficacy numbers look a little bit worse. And so, you're going to have people asking, can I have this other one? Or, which one should I get? And that kind of thing. So there's always an opportunity there to talk to pharmacists about being able to answer those questions.
Great idea. Thank you. Well, I know it is, for those that are working today, I know there's, you have patients to take care of and pharmacies to run. So I will be respectful of your time, and I'll hang around, as will the staff, for anybody that wants to hang on and talk some more. But we'll go ahead and end the call. And thank you all again for jumping on today. And thanks to all those that have helped me in this transition period.